Welcome, friends. It's Dr. Diane Pomerantz, hoping that you're well and happy to join with you today. There's something serious that I'd like to discuss with you today. It's a celebratory time of year. We're approaching Thanksgiving, and we all know that we have much to be grateful for. We're approaching the Christmas holidays, and again, we have so much to be grateful for. But there are many of us who are sad at this time of year and who have lost someone that they've loved. And for you, I just wanted to offer some hope and some optimism. I know that it can be so lonely and heartbreaking to lose a loved one, and yet loss is an inevitable part of life. For each and every one of us, the experience of grief is inevitable. And over 40 different kinds of grief have been identified. And you may not be consciously aware of the kinds of grief that set in or affect our lives. But these include the loss of a spouse, the loss of a son or child, the loss of a pet, the loss of finances and stability, the loss of a job. Again, graduation. I know you might think graduation is a loss issue, but it is, because it's the ending of one era of one's life and the beginning of a new one. And so keep in mind that we're constantly impacted by one kind of loss or another. And that's not to be negative, that's just the nature of life as it is. And we need to be aware that there are tools that can help us cope with and recover from loss. And I'd like to share some of these tools with you. I'm a grief recovery specialist, and I help people cope with and recover from loss. And recently we've been dealing with the terrorism in France, and actually global terrorism. It's not relegated to any one particular country or continent even. We're witnessing tragedy throughout the world, and we cannot help but be impacted by this tragedy, this sadness, this mourning. But what is grief? Grief is the mix of emotion, the roller coaster of emotion, from despair to depression to sadness to pain to anguish, a profound pain and agony that sits with us, and sometimes we get so lost in that pain and despair and agony that we don't know where to go. It is important for us to first identify that we are grieving, to acknowledge that yes, we have been impacted by the loss of our troops overseas, by the loss of our troops at home, and the car accidents were impacted by all of those young people that have been injured and died. And so again, we need to first identify with the fact that we are grieving. Be accepting of what you're feeling and be grateful for it, knowing that grief is the normal, natural, and healthy response to loss, especially a profound loss. It's so important for us to remember that we are not alone. And I would say that's the secondary step. We are not alone in our grief. You are not alone. Thirdly, you are normal. Grief is normal. People who are grieving tend to think they're the only ones and they've lost it and they're going crazy. That is not true at all. You are perfectly normal to experience all the various emotions that you experience. And finally, recognize that grief is an acceptable and healthy and positive way of dealing with loss. We have joy, we have sorrow, we experience all of the above. And to experience grief is a very powerful life lesson, but we can get through it. We can, and we will. And so this holiday season, know that you are not alone, that you couldn't be alone, and that in love there is no separation. And if you'd like more information about grief, grief recovery, coping with grief, etc., please visit my website, drdianepomerantz.com, and read my book, my recent book, Catherine, A Woman of Vision. Catherine taught that there is no death, that the real you is neither the mind nor the physical body, but the power that motivates them. So until next time, I wish you well and a joyous holiday season.